This is Dave's Cards and Sports Games. The 1991 NFL Pro Line Edition. Yes. As we turn the music down a little bit in the background, once again, I'm Dave from Dave's Cards and Sports Games. They were trying to sell merchandise in 1991. Really the first year that went nuts. So let's get to it. Jim Kelly, card number 1. And they're all going to show some merchandise. Very tough for me to read being colorblind. Carl Banks. Totally color. Neil Anderson from the Bears. Remember him? Good running back. James Brooke. Good running back for the Bengals. Showing off some gear. Reggie Langhorne, wide receiver for the Browns. This is really the start of NFL promoting their products. Robert Awalt, the tight end. Gonna flip all these the wrong way. Gotta flip them like that. Greg Reagan of the Broncos. Steve Young of the 49ers, of course. Nick Bell. Don't really remember him. There's some Raiders gear. They're trying to show off their hats, their shirts, their jackets. Ray Childress. Albert Bentley, good running back for the Colts. Albert Lewis, Kansas City. Howie Long on Fox. And there's a nice windbreaker jacket for you to wear. Willie Anderson, Flipper Anderson was his nickname, for the Rams. Once again, totally colorblind, but I think that's Mark Clayton. On the goalpost, very cool. Gerard Bunch. Didn't play much. Giants. Bruce Armstrong of the Pats. Vinnie Clark of the Packers. At Lambeau. That's kind of cool. Rob Moore. Eric Allen. I believe he's in the hall. Looks like Randall Cunningham a little bit. And Will Smith. Tim Rosenbach. Quarterback of the Cardinals. Gary Anderson. Great kicker. Martin Bayless. San Diego. Kevin Fagan. Brian Blades. Gary Anderson, the 1991 Pro Line. Ernest Biner, the Eagles. Now here's a Redskin. O.J. Simpson gets a card. Once again, this is 91 before O.J. went downhill. Dan Henning, coach card. Let's see what that looks like. Looks a lot younger there than there. Punter Sean Landetta, who punted for many, many years. Here's some balls, some helmets, and a nice jacket you can buy. James Lofton, Hall of Famer. Here he is with the Buffalo Bills. Mike Singletary, Hall of Famer. Bears. David Fulcher. Mark Murphy. Redskins. Green Bay Packers, like I said. Isaac Holt. The cornerback Isaac Holt used to be with the Vikings. Dallas Cowboys. Dennis Smith, Broncos. How about Lamar Brown, Lions. Ernest Gibbons is a great receiver for Houston. $300 set. We're getting a number 50, Dwayne Beckett. Colts. Barry Ward, running back for KC at, there it is in Kansas City. Arrowhead Stadium. Tony Mandrich, the big blob. Cleveland Gary. What's he trying to sell? Looks like sweatpants. Terrell Edmonds. Randall Hill. That is a cool looking picture. Irving Fryer, nice receiver for the Pats. Love that helmet. Henry Jones. Bills. Blair Thomas. New York Jets. Andre Waters from the Eagles. J.T. Smith from the Cardinals. We'll put that away. Where's the first 50? Thomas Everett of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Once again, you're looking at Pro Line. 1991, 24 years ago. 34 years ago. This is really the first year the NFL tried to promote all their merchandise so you could buy everything you could think of. Marion Butts was a nice running back for the San Diego Chargers. Tom Rathman, legendary fullback for the 49ers. Van McElroy, this guy could really hit. I've had many people who hit people and knocked them out. There's with the Seattle Seahawks. Mark Carrier, nice receiver for Tampa Bay. Jim Lachey, tackle for the Redskins. Joe Theismann, Redskins. Jerry Glanville, coach of the Falcons. I liked him as an announcer on Fox and CBS before he went to Fox. How about Doug Reisenberg? Don't remember the tackle for the Giants. Another long name. Cornelius Bennett. He was a good linebacker. Mark Carrier, safety for the Bears. Look at that, trying to promote their hats and their jackets. Rodney Holman, Bengals. Leroy Horde, Browns. Played for the Vikings later in his career. The Vikings had like a 4th and 43, gave him the ball and a handoff, and he made it. Something like that. It was amazing. Michael Irvin. Bobby Humphrey, Broncos. Mel Gray, great player. So he's wearing a Pro Bowl shirt. That's pretty cool. Brian Noble, Green Bay. Al Smith, Oilers. Eric Dickerson, the legend with the goggles. That's what he looks like without wearing the goggles, everybody. Steve DeBerg, Chiefs. Always had cool looking colors. Jay Schrader. There he is with the Raiders. Irv Pankey, Rams. No Vikings in this set? Have we did a Viking yet? I live in Minnesota. I'd like to see some Vikings. Reggie Roby, a big punter from Iowa. He thought he was going to be the first punter to hit the dome ceiling. Could barely hit it into the upper level of the stands. Hey, there's a Viking. Wade Wilson. I believe he passed away a few years ago. Russell, Maryland. Al Toon, good receiver. Didn't realize he was that thin. Randall Cunningham, one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time. Lonnie Young. Wow, that is a cool looking picture. Traded to the New York Jets. Carnell Lake. Bert Grossman, Chargers. That's when Zubas were still popular. Jim Mora, playoffs. Dave Craig, sacked the most times in a game in NFL history. Or made the most fumbles, I think, in the NFL history. Bruce Hill. Ricky Sanders. How about Roger Staubach? Coach of the Buccaneers, Richard Williamson. He was only there for probably a year. They went 2-12, and they probably fired him. Shane Conlon, good player. How about Ditka? What was he showing off? The nice, I believe, starter jacket. We have 10 more cards here, and we're a third of the way done. Mark Bort. Tim McGee, I liked him. That's a cool looking shirt. Refrigerator Perry with the Browns. Looks like he lost a lot of weight. Oh, it's Michael Dean Perry. He did lose weight then. Danny Noonan. Mark Jackson. Chris Miller. Ed McCaffrey. Lorenzo White. Ray Donaldson. Great kicker, Nick Lowry. Steve Smith. As Monday Night Football is going on in the background. Hope you're enjoying my videos. Dave's Cards and Sports Games. Please like and subscribe. This card number 51 is stuck here. Jackie Slater. I think he's in the Hall of Fame for the Rams. Louis Oliver from the Miami Dolphins. Oh, wow, what a build that guy has. Ray Agnew. I didn't realize I was in pictures back in the 90s. Sam Mills, great player. Bill Pickle. Keith Byers. Ricky Prohl. Merrill Hodge. Rod Bernstein. Try to go a little quicker here. Andy Heck. Once again, this is Proline 1991, Topps product. They were trying to get people to buy their product, and it worked well. How about the legendary Paul Warfield? Bill Belichick. This is technically his rookie card. Bill Belichick, rookie card. Otis Anderson, great running back. Andre Reed, Hall of Famer. Andre Rison, great wide receiver for the Falcons. Dexter Carter. Anthony Munoz, one of the best tackles ever to play the game. Bernie Kosar. Alonzo Highsmith. David Treadwell. Rodney Peete. Haywood Jeffries. And look how he spells his name. He's called Jeffries, but it's spelled Jeff Fires. Clarence Verdon. Christian Okoye. Greg Townsend. Tom Newberry. Keith Sims. Hope you're having a great Labor Day weekend. Please like and subscribe to Dave's Cards and Sports Games. Andre Tippett. One thing, I think we've only seen one Viking card so far, and that was Wade Wilson. I think Jerry Burns has a card in here. Steve Walsh, born in Minnesota. Eric McMillan. I'm doing something really quick here. For the Jets. Jim McMahon. Must be showing off the Zubas. Derek Hill. David Johnson. Leslie O'Neal, fantastic linebacker for San Diego. Pierce Holt. Cortez Kennedy, another great defensive lineman. See, he's wearing a rain jacket. Danny Peebles. Tampa Bay. Alvin Walton. Washington. Drew Pearson, the legend. Dick McPherson. Howard. Tasker. Or the double helmet. Bill Fralick. Don Warren. And Eric Thomas. Halfway done. Pro line. 1991. Jack Pardee, coach of the Oilers. Gary Zimmerman, there's a Viking. Cool picture there. Leonard Marshall of the Giants. How about Chris Spielman of the Lions? Sam Weish from the Bengals. Punter card, not punting. Stephen Page of the Chiefs. Lionel Washington. Henry Ellard. Dan Marino, looking good there. Lindy Infante from the Packers. Dan McGuire. Tim McDonald. Louis Lips. Billy Joe Tolliver. Tony Woods. Matt Millen. Gale, Hall of Famer, Sayers. Look at that. What's he trying to promote? Suits? Tie, say Bears on it? Doesn't matter. It's Gale Sayers. Ron Meyer. William Roberts. Thurman Thomas. Steve McMichael. I believe he passed away a few years ago, unfortunately. Icky Shuffle, Icky Woods. Dancing right there. Eugene Lockhart. George Seifert. Keith Jones. Jack Trudeau, who was born in Forest Lake, Minnesota. Kevin Porter. Ronnie Lott, rookie season, had his pinky break in a game, and he told the guy just cut it off. So they cut off his pinky in the middle of a game. Hall of Famer. Marty Schottenheimer, looking great in that Chief sweater. Morton Anderson. Anthony Thompson. Tim Worley. Billy Ray Smith. David Whitmore. Jacob Green. Browning Nagel. Franco Harris, he unfortunately left. George. Derek Thomas, Hall of Famer. Roger Craig, I believe he's in the Hall of Fame. He should be. John Forcade. Rod Woodson, Hall of Famer. Anthony Miller. We are halfway, or 2/3 of the way done in the NFL Pro Line. Jerry Rice, Hall of Famer. Eugene Robinson. Charles Mann. Mel Blount. He has to be in the Hall. Look at that, showing off his horse. Hall of Famer Don Shula. John Elliott. I believe he's called Jumbo Elliott. Or Jumbo Elliott. Jay Hilgenberg. Deron Cherry. A lot of these guys were just unbelievable players. Dan Reeves. Roman Pfeiffer. David Little. Lee Williams. John Taylor. Monty Coleman. Look at that. Walter Payton. Sweetness. John Robinson. Pepper Johnson. Tom, do we only see one Viking in the whole thing so far? Two. Don Selamula. Ernest Spears. Bubby Brister. NFL Pro Line 1991, where the NFL made a card set to start hopefully having people buy their merchandise. There's some Zubas you may want to buy back in the day. From Junior Seau. Great player. Brent Jones, good tight end. Rufus Porter. Jack Kemp, Congressman. Wayne Fonts. Phil Simms. Sean Gale. Bill Moss. No Moss. Ronaldo Turnbull. Brian Hinkle. Gary Plummer. There's Jerry Burns of the Vikings. 3 Vikings cards is all. LT. Wow, what a great card. Joe Gibbs, Racing Team. Neil Smith. Rich Kotite. Jim Covert. Tom Grunard. Not many centers in this set. Jim Bugle, coach of the Cards. Dave Wyman. Maury Buford. Kevin Ross. Jimmy Johnson. Jim Morrissey. Jeff Hostetler. Sure load up on the Giants and the Bears. Andre Ware. Steve Largent. Chuck Knox. Back-to-back Seahawks. Boomer Esiason. Kevin Butler, kicker for the Bears. Bruce Smith, legend Hall of Famer. Webster Slaughter. Mike Sherrard. Steve Broussard. Warren Moon. John Elway. They put this product out so fans could buy their merchandise. Jim Everett. Don't call him Chrissy. Bruce Coslett. James Francis. Eric Dorsey. Marcus Dupree. Vinny Testaverde. Chip Lohmiller from Minnesota. Played for Minnesota. I don't know if he's actually from here. I'll look really quick. I don't think he was born here. Yeah, he was. Woodbury. John Riggins. How about that? Probably won't be walking around Washington wearing that today. Mike Schad. Kevin Green. Dean Biasucci. Liked him. Liked saying the name. Mike Pritchard. Ted Washington. Alfred Williams. Chris Zorich. Reggie Barrett. Chris Hinton. Big lineman. He has to be in the hall. Tracy Johnson. Jim Harbaugh. John Roper. Mike Dumas. Herman Moore, good receiver for Detroit. Eric Turner from the Browns. Steve Atwater from the Broncos. Michael Cofer. Keith McCants. Ahmad Rashad. Eric Swan. Dalton Hilliard. He was a decent running back. Ricky Jackson. Nice linebacker for the Saints. Vaughn Johnson from the Saints. Looks like the Saints got all their guys back to back to back. Martin. Swilling. Another Viking. Anthony Carter. McIntyre. Benny Blades. Paul Theron ends it. And we aren't done yet. I forgot. They also had the cheerleaders wearing merchandise. Here we go. Oh, you got other people too. Felicia Rashad, Vikings wife. Stacy O'Brien, that's Ken O'Brien's wife. Tony Lips, Louis Lips' wife. Michelle Gates, Antonio Gates' wife? Maybe not. Looks like she's wearing a cardinal. And then you get Janet Elway. Bernie Kosar's wife. And Joe Montana's wife. I guess that would be card number 1 of the set for sure. So there are the wives. They're trying to sell you NFL merchandise back in 1991. And NFL made their own set of cards called NFL Pro Line. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks for watching Dave's Cards and Sports Games. Please like and subscribe on YouTube.